What's up, dude? Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So again, it's late at night when I'm recording this. I don't know why I continue to do this to myself. My lights are blue because of how cold it has been. Last I checked, we are at -20, but I think it's supposed to get up to -17, so that's a positive. Love that. I think it's supposed to be cold for quite a while, so that's why I thought we'd go with blue for the lights today. Moving on with our 50 crime stories from each of the 50 states, we are now at Rhode Island, which, interestingly enough, is the only state that starts with the letter R in the US. Never mind, that was not very interesting. I thought it was, but now that I think about it, a lot of people probably just do not care. All right, let's just jump right into today's story. In 1997, Bryan Nisenfeld, I believe is how you say his last name, was 18 years old and starting college at Roger Williams University in Bristol, Rhode Island. He was studying to be an architect, and he was described as being very quiet by the few friends that he did have. He wasn't a person that had a very large friend group. He preferred to read or listen to music by the Mount Hope Bridge, and he liked to sit near the water. At the time, Bryan was homesick, and the program that he was in was pretty tough. You know, he was studying to be an architect. Oh my gosh. He was studying to be an architect, and as you can imagine, a lot of math. It just seems like it would be a very hard program. So he actually ended up switching majors to English because he loved reading and poetry. He switched, in his second year. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I can't think straight. It was his second semester of college when he made the switch. So he did it pretty early on. On January 31st, 1997, Bryan got a threatening phone call from a former student at Roger Williams who said that he was going to get him and that he could get him at any point in time on the campus if he wanted to. The call really scared Bryan, who was a shy guy that typically just kept to himself. So, of course, if you get a threatening phone call, that's going to scare you. And then on top of that, being a very quiet, shy type of person, I think that's going to freak you out even just a little bit more. At 12:30 a.m., Bryan called his dad to see if he would come to campus. His dad told him to call a campus security guard who just told him to change his phone number. So not incredibly helpful. On February 6th, 1997, Bryan finished his lecture class and was never seen again. His friends were worried about him when he didn't show up for any classes the next day, and then he never tried to contact them over the weekend, which was odd for him. His friends were actually the ones who told security that he was missing the following Monday, and then Bryan's parents weren't notified that he went missing until 6 days after the fact, so they only found out on February 12th. Steve went to his son's dorm room to investigate, but found everything was in place and seemed like it was where it should be. There wasn't any signs of a struggle or anything like that. So he said it just looked like Bryan had left for his class and was coming back later on in the day. Bryan's mom had received a call from a woman who claimed to be associated with the school and claimed that an administrator and 2 faculty members were withholding information from the case, but as soon as she said that, the line went dead and she never heard from her again. 6 months later, on Labor Day weekend, 1997, Lori Vales and her daughter Chelsea were taking a walk along Hog Island, which is just a few miles away from the school, and while walking they came across a shoe on the beach. Not super odd, I guess, to find a stray shoe on the beach, but the weird thing about this one was it had part of a foot inside of it still, so that's creepy. A shin bone was then also found nearby, and after conducting a DNA test on the foot and shin bone, the test came back with a positive match for Bryan. No other evidence was found, and authorities presumed that Bryan was dead. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, my dog squealed and it scared me. His nail bent backwards, and so when it gets stepped on or even just bumped, it really hurts him, so Jake, you gotta be more careful, man. Okay, where was I? So since no other evidence was found, the authorities just thought that he was dead. Which makes sense. I mean, if you can't find any other evidence, but you found a shoe and part of his foot and part of a shin bone, kind of safe to assume that sort of thing, I guess. Some people think that Bryan may have fallen into the river from like the edge, since that's where he liked to sit and read and listen to music. Some think that he might have committed suicide since he was struggling with school and was homesick. His family and friends don't think that suicide was something that Bryan would have done, and they really doubt that that is the case here. And they also don't think that he would have accidentally fallen into the water, because if he regularly sat there, he kind of knows the landscape. But also, it's like, you get comfortable, you get a little bit careless sometimes. So, you never know. I mean, like, my dad, he's been driving a skid steer for decades, and he's gotten really comfortable with it, and now I've seen him start running into other stuff that he's not supposed to run into. So, sorry, Dad, I didn't mean to take a swipe at you. The family and friends of Bryan believe that he was, in fact, murdered. His family adamantly believes that Bryan was murdered by the man that was threatening him on the phone just weeks before he died. That is really strange. You're getting threatening calls, and then all of a sudden you show up dead. The man was identified as Josh Cohen, the guy that was calling him on the phone and leaving the messages. It turned out that Bryan and Josh had been close friends at the start of the school year and might have even had a romantic relationship with one another. I remember this is 97, so not like how things are today, you know. But again, some people suspect that Josh was going to tell people about their relationship, and that's why Bryan ended up committing suicide. But his family and friends don't think that that was the case. There is no other information about the whereabouts of Bryan Nisenfeld, unfortunately. So if you have any information, please contact the Rhode Island State Police at 401-444-1000 or the Bristol Police Department at 401-253-6900. That is our case for today for Rhode Island. I thought it was kind of an interesting one. Not a current case, but I just thought, like, it's crazy. He just never showed up again. Like, he, after his lecture, he talked to the professor and then walked away, and that was it. And we don't know where he was after that. And of course, no security cameras. So yeah, that's it for Bryan. We don't know anything else about him, which I think is really sad, and I feel bad for his family, especially if they don't think that, you know, he would have done anything like accidentally fallen into the water, committed suicide. Like, it's so sad that they just now have to assume that he's dead. But, like I said, that's it for me today. I'm interested in knowing what you guys think about this case in the comments down below. Please leave a comment. Let me know what you think. But remember, be respectful. And please make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel. But if not, that's cool. Thanks for hanging out with me this morning. And for those of you that will be back tomorrow for another True Crime Courier videos, I will see you then. Bye, guys.